Hey there, welcome to our new video series from Squirrel North, all about modern management. One of the things that we do a lot here at Squirrel North is use Kanban to help us do just that. So let's get started. And so today we're going to be talking about 3 types of Kanban called the Kanban Agendas. Our goal at Squirrel North is to improve business performance, and so it starts with improving management capabilities, and that's really where Kanban comes in. Don't get me wrong, improving individuals and teams is very important, and we'll talk about that as well, but it's important to realize that without the ability to kind of leverage all that improvement with teams and individuals, you're not going to be able to bring that all to bear. So you need those management capabilities to bring it all together. So why do we use Kanban so much? It's simply one of the best tools we know about improving management performance and business fitness. So what are we talking about when we say business fitness? When we look at organizations and we think of the word fitness, we can actually think about their offerings to the marketplace and looking at those offerings from 3 specific dimensions. How well are those offerings designed? How are they implemented? And just as importantly, how well are they delivered? Now, a lot of organizations that we help have figured out a lot of know-how and IP around their design and their implementation of their products and services. But in terms of their delivery, this is where a lot of gap still exists with a lot of the clients that we support. And if we're being honest, chances are you have some of these delivery challenges as well. And we tend to call these things execution problems. We've got the right idea, we've got the right design, but can we execute? So where are a lot of these execution problems coming from? From what we've observed, a lot of them come from an imbalance. And what kind of imbalance am I talking about? It's an imbalance between your customer's demand, what are they asking for, in what volumes, in what ways, and your organization's capabilities. So are these 2 things actually in balance? And when they're not in balance, this is where a lot of the performance challenges start to emerge. So examples of that would be missed deadlines, overworked staff, broken promises, cost overruns, all sorts of things that you don't want to actually be there if this is your organization. So the trick around improving our execution is about regaining that balance. And we can use Kanban to get you back into equilibrium, getting your demand and your capabilities rebalanced. And so how do we do that? We essentially work on the problem from both sides. On the demand side, there's all sorts of tools and techniques that provide for demand shaping. And on the capability side, there's all sorts of tools and techniques on improving your capability. Now, Kanban approaches this in 3 flavors, and this is the focus of today's video, which is the 3 Kanban agendas. Now, the first agenda is the most basic kind, and this is known as the Sustainability Agenda. And chances are you have probably seen this practiced in your organization. If you've ever seen a very simple Kanban board that's being used by an individual or perhaps a team, this is typically a sustainability Kanban agenda being practiced. And this deals with some challenges that you'll find with individuals and teams, primarily being overloaded and dealing with too many requests, multitasking, and not being able to really get on top of all the volume of work that's being asked of them. And so if you are practicing Kanban from a sustainability perspective, you deal with that overloading. You can improve the pride and the quality of the individuals participating in your organization and generally get back to a more sustainable pace of working. And this is usually where a lot of people start using Kanban. Now, as much as that is helpful, the good news is there's even more powerful forms of Kanban. And that's a good transition to the next agenda, which is the service orientation agenda. And we like to call that actually the Kanban sweet spot. Now, the concept is rooted around the fact that organizations, companies, are interacting with customers. The organization is primarily there to meet the needs of customers in the fittest way possible. So consider this. You have customers and they have all sorts of requests, and you have to perform all sorts of work. And the work that adds up ultimately leads to delivery of that product or service to that customer. And all that work, if you were to itemize it all together and understand it, that's what the service is. Also realize that it doesn't matter how you define your organization, whether you're a product company or a service company, or define your department, if this is a department about services or products, it doesn't change the fact that all of that is being delivered through services. So your products are delivered through leveraging services to build said products and deliver said products. And so it's all about understanding what services exist in your organization. If you can do that, you realize that these services require an extreme amount of collaboration across your organization. Most organizations who have differentiating products and services will have to bring all sorts of different skills, capabilities to bear within teams, across departments, and that collaboration comes together to form a service that delivers that product or service. So the ability to understand all that interaction and model it and use that model as a management model to improve all those connections to make that service as fit as possible, and defining that fitness from the perspective of not internally but externally in terms of how your customers are consuming those services. Now that's the service orientation agenda, and really why we call it the Kanban sweet spot, because it starts to orient you towards your customer right away. And from what we've seen, it's the biggest point of leverage and improves the business performance of your organization in a profound way very quickly. So, if you've heard us say, start using Kanban tomorrow and you're going to be starting to prove things right away, this is generally the area that we're talking about. Now, the third agenda in Kanban is known as the Survivability Agenda. And it's not geared so much towards team members or teams or even managers who are managing services. This is more for a different class of person. This is a person who is typically a business owner or maybe a senior executive in a public company. There's something specific about these people, and we call them risk takers. They're running a business, and running a business is really all about taking risks. Taking the right risks, hopefully, that lead to the right rewards. And so what are examples of these risks? So this could be, which services do we offer? What products do we offer? How much of each should be offered? Where should they be offered? How much inventory do we need to hold? What skills are required? What are the characteristics of these services that we need? And so if you think about all these risks that organizations take, they show up through their decision making, and they're generally expressed through some form of organizational strategy, hopefully one that is explicitly shared with everyone. Where survivability in Kanban comes in is giving you all sorts of tools to express your strategy, monitor it, align it across your various services. So if you could imagine an organization who's leveraging the service-oriented agenda, how do you bring all of that to bear? Well, the survivability agenda is about leveraging Kanban even further to manage those risks. So why call it survivability agenda? Well, the basic thing is if you get the risks wrong, it can lead to ruin in your organization. And so the idea is maintaining survivability at all times, and hopefully even beyond that to some form of resilience and robustness. So the three Kanban agendas, they are not meant to be one of those things where you choose one versus the other. So you're not going to be looking at them and say, okay, I'm going to be doing this and not that. It's really thinking about these three agendas solve different problems. And the chances are your organization may have problems in all three of the categories. So when you start to think about using Kanban, it's really about considering what of each of the three categories are my problems, and how am I using Kanban as a toolkit to go and help me solve them? We still tend, when we train and when we consult, to help organizations coalesce around the service-oriented agenda. And there are various paths to that. We could start by working on the sustainability agenda and working our way up to the service-oriented agenda. But however the route takes us, it's trying to get really good at the service-oriented agenda. That tends to be where you can really make a big differentiation for your company, your department, your particular services that you are offering through the use of the Kanban tools there. It's got a very quick turnaround. It starts to have payoff immediately. It's rooted in impacting your customers' view of your organization, because they are the ones that you are optimizing for. And that's the beauty of the service-oriented agenda. All the improvements that you're using Kanban to do is oriented towards that interaction with your customer and improving that fitness that we've been talking about. So this is why we tend to call it that sweet spot. And so there you have it. Those are the 3 Kanban agendas. They're there to help your organization's performance, help you execute better, help you sustain your practices better, and help you prosper in the long term. We really hope you enjoyed our video and hope you come back and watch the next one. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing. Now, if you want to get more depth into Kanban and start improving your business's performance right away, you can certainly get a lot from this video series and all the resources at squirrelnorth.com, but you may want to consider taking our training classes or even leveraging some of our consulting services. They can make a real difference in terms of how quickly you can actually start to make a difference. Information for both of these are available at squirrelnorth.com, and we hope to see you for our next video.